Okay, what's going on YouTube? This is PNG Media News coming back at you with another edition of the Concrete and Steel Chronicles. Now for this segment, I'm doing something a little bit different. A lot of you all have gotten a lot of emails and stuff about, how come your guests don't tell more war stories. So what I'm gonna be doing for the next couple of segments, I'm bringing back previous guests just to tell a couple of war stories. Now for some of you all, maybe like, oh man, you glorifying war violence. No, that's not what I'm doing. I'm giving people what they ask for. And people are gonna get whatever they're looking for. Some people who just want to hear a violent war story, okay, that's what they're gonna get. Other people want to listen to the story and be like, wow, that's a cautionary tale about why you should stay in prison. That's what they want to get. Other people who looking just to hear how those things happen, just from a purely documentary perspective, that's what they're gonna get. So I don't need any comments about I'm glorifying. If people want it to be glorified, that's what they want to hear. That's what they're gonna get about it. I'm just presenting the information. So this segment is gonna be a little bit different from my usual. The guests is gonna be more so telling the story. And of course, I'll be asking some questions. We're gonna go from there. So this for my very first segment, I got none other than Whack Deuce. He's a white guy. He was a Crip. He held his mud and did time in the Crip car, the California prison system. So he's gonna give us a couple of his war stories. All right, take it away, Whack.
What's up, man? What's up, everybody? What's up, YouTube? So yeah, man. There's a lot of people out there, man, that they kind of like discredit like the black card. I mean, it's well known that the Southside Mexicans are probably the deepest. You know what I'm saying? Out of all the cars and all that. You know what I mean? But that doesn't numbers doesn't mean everything. And I've seen it. I've been a part of it. There's been plenty of times where the homies handled their business. You know what I'm saying? And got off or isolated incidents where it didn't blow up into a full scale riot, but you know, cats handle their business. So I'm gonna kick it off with one that's kind of infamous. I wasn't there for it, but I was actually cellies with one of the dudes that did it, and it's kind of like an infamous story amongst the Crips for sure in Cali and the Southsiders and the really with the police. So back in '95, I went to the pen in '97, but back in '95, in Calipat, the police had assaulted one of the homies from East Coast. I don't remember what faction of the East Coast Crips, but one of them. And so in the morning. Well, later on that day at Yard, 6 of his homies said fuck it, and they ran up in the program office, and they ended up stabbing a sergeant in the program office, and officers responding to the alarm, they went ahead and ran up in the office, and you had nothing but like a full-scale mini riot in the program office between 6 armed East Coasters and police. And from everybody that I've ever talked to, even police alike, man, they say them East Coast dudes got cracking. You know what I'm saying? I'm talking about police were getting whooped on. The sergeant got stabbed right off the rib. You know what I'm saying? And dudes got fucked up, man. So anyways, they ended up snatching up a gang of Crips off that Yard and sent them to Cortland. Now this all ties into the gladiator fights in Cortland. So they ended up taking, I think it was 36 of the homies out of Calipat, 36 Crips, put them on a special bus and threw them up there to Cortland. Well, when they got to Cortland, they had the green wall waiting on them. These dudes were snatching these dudes off the bus. Now keep in mind, when you get transported, your hands are shackled to a waist chain, right? And your legs are shackled at the ankles. So you can't really move. I mean, you can barely shuffle, you know what I'm saying? So these dudes they would snatch them off the bus and throw them off the top step of the bus, off the bus. So dudes ended up with broken ribs, hands, feet. It was like 100 degrees when they got there. They took the dude's shower shoes, made one of the homies stand in the sun for however long till he got first and third degree burns on the bottom of his feet. They cut their hair off. The homies had braids and shit. They forcefully cut their hair off. They just beat the shit out of the homies.
Was there ever any lawsuits behind that?
Huh?
Were there ever any lawsuits behind that?
Yeah, they ended up winning money. Yeah, they won money behind that. But all them dudes was lifers though. They were all lifers. You know what I'm saying? So they got money, but still, fuck that. I want my freedom. But back then, I tell that story to say this. In the 90s, that's when kind of like there was a little bit more unity amongst the blacks than there was in the, like, when I started leaving the pen, the shit started fracturing more and more, bro. You know what I'm saying? Whereas back then, like when I first hit the pen in 97, you know what I'm saying? It was kind of like, you know, there was still some solidarity, bro. You know what I mean? Amongst the blacks as far as like, you know, if something happened to one black, then, you know what I mean? We off in a ride, you know what I mean? Type shit. And so, that's a little quick war story. But let me tell you about the time that we got into it with the Mexicans in Tehachapi. So, we had just opened this yard up, and people were establishing their shit. And of course, you know what I'm saying, one of the Mexicans that came to one of the Damus and got some dope from him or something. And dude ended up, because he knew the dude from the streets, dude ended up running up a tab of, I think it was like $800 or something like that. I can't remember, it was 20 years ago, but he ended up running up a tab for like 800. And it got to the point of where like the dude, the homie was like going to him like, hey man, I need my cheese, bro. You know what I mean? I need my, I need my money. Like, man, I got you. It's coming, it's coming, it's coming. Finally, it got to the point where the homies were tired of hearing the homie complain about it, type shit. So, and then on top of that, there was tension anyways because the yard had just opened up, and when the yard opens up, there's shit's got to be established. You know what I'm saying? Like, these are our tables over here. This is our side of the basketball court. This is our handball court, etc. These are our dip bars, pull-up bars. So shit needs to be established. You know what I'm saying? The administration don't establish that. The convicts establish that, right? So shit needs to be established. So there was already tension on the yard. So finally, there was a G homie. I ain't gonna mention his name, but he was from Grape Street. I will say that. And he just got tired of it. He was like, "Fuck it, you know what?" He was like, "Man, the next time I hear about some shit like that, I'm finna go to old boy's door. I'm finna knock him out." I was like, "Oh, damn." And then sure enough, homie, like the next, like, I don't know, that weekend, oh, that's what it was. That weekend, the Mexican was supposed to come back with some shit from visiting to pay off his shit. Well, when he come back, he ain't got nothing, or he ain't. Damn. So the next day, I remember it like it was yesterday, it was Sunday morning, bro. Came out for breakfast, went back in, came out to York, and I just remember seeing a homie from Grape Street. He kind of like he walked by the San Diego crib table and was like, "Hey," put the homies up on game, seen him hit a lap, talking to everybody else, and on inline, at first inline he went in, and everybody in that building walked in, and he went over there, and he went straight to old boy's door and was like, "Hey man, let me holler at you," and just knocked him, bro, just bam, and then next thing you know, it just went down. So we in the building, and we getting cracking, you know what I'm saying? And I remember right around that time, the Southsiders had gotten into it with the white boys too. So it was kind of like that shit was crazy because you see the white boys trying to get out the way. You see the Southsiders, you know, they ain't gonna let their people get jumped on, homie. You know what I mean? They finna crack. So that shit was just crazy, bro. So we getting into it, you know what I'm saying? I'm over there, I'm chunking them with an SA under the stairs over there by cell 150. And I'm watching, like I'm trying to keep moving because I'm trying to keep my eyes on the white boys too, because the white boys are taking an opportunity like that to try to come get me, bro. You know what I'm saying? And sure enough, homie, you know what I'm saying? Like, so we finally, they bust a black gun like 2 times, and they shot the Mini 14 once, but nobody got hit with the Mini 14. But the black gun motherfuckers got hit with it, and so we laid out plexi cuffs. I'm over there. I'm like halfway between B section and C section, and I look over to my right, and there's 2 Mexicans and like 3 white boys, and then I'm like, damn, I'm kind of far from the homies. And sure enough, homie, one of the white boys tried to jump up and try to get me, but luckily there was police that had snatched them and tackled them before they could get to me. So that's one of that's another incident. Um, and then they so that was all level 3. That was a program yard. Basically, yeah, a program yard is dudes that got life and they want to go home, or I mean, they're trying to get a. I mean, it's either dudes going home with a date and they don't want to be a part of the bullshit. They got jobs and shit, or it's lifers that are trying to go home that don't want to be a part of the bullshit.
Okay.
So you know what I'm saying. So that yard, when they opened it up like that, it wasn't. You know what I'm saying. It was bound to be problems anyways. And they were bringing dudes in from all the fucked up pens uh, for that yard to open up that level 4 270. So that yard, I don't even think I don't even think it stayed open for a year. Um, Another incident was we got into it with the others in Lancaster. Um, the others were cool with us. They used to.
And when you say others, what do you mean by others?
The others is like the Asians, Samoans, uh, Vietnamese, Chinese, Guamanians, Tongans. Sometimes the American Indians run with them. Sometimes Puerto Ricans run with them. Just depending on where they're from and all that. But yeah, we ended up getting into. Now they were cool with us. And no, you guys can't go to that playground. I'm sorry, man. No, play right here in front. And so they were cool with us. We'd function with them, but it was kind of funny on that yard because, like I said, they would fuck with us, but then they would play basketball with the Southsiders, which in some pens, I guess, there is others that they do fuck with the Southsiders. And so I always thought that was kind of funny. Well, anyways, we end up being cool with them dudes and shit. I had a couple Samoan homies that I fucked with on a daily basis and all that. And one day, the homie gets out the hole and was like, "Hey, man, Sonny the Asian homie owes me and shit." And so the homies were like, "Well, shit, he gone, but go holler at they boy." And so he went and hollered at old boy at the Samoan cat, and the Samoan cat was like, "Nah, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know nothing about it, you know what I mean? But basically, I'll check into it." So whatever, a couple of days passed or whatever, you know what I'm saying, and nothing happens, you know what I'm saying? So the homies kind of hot, like, "Man, I need my shit," you know what I'm saying? And so anyways, we worked behind the wall and shit. I worked in office services, and we back there and shit, and so the homie, the Asian's cat Shelly was in that class with me, and the homie got assigned to that class when he got out the hole. So he's like, "Hey," so they chopped it up one day. He's like, "Hey, homie, what's up?" You know what I mean? Like, you already know. I mean, you were there when you know what I'm saying, when the deal was done. And he was like, "Homie, what are you?" The Asian cat was like, "What are you crying for, homie?" Like, the homie said when he hollered at him, he gonna, you know what I'm saying, he gonna make it right. He like, but he shouldn't have to holler at him. You were right there. You were Sally, homie. And they started having words and shit. But motherfuckers separated them. Well, they went back. We got out of work and shit at like I think 1:30, 2 o'clock. You get from beyond the wall, and they already have the yard. You know what I'm saying? The yard's already open, so everybody's out there in the yard already. So we come out from work, exchange and shit. Motherfuckers go to their spots and shit, go fuck with their cars and shit. And we come out, you know what I'm saying? I come out there and shit, and I always walk to get to where we hung out at. You got to walk past the basketball courts. And I remember that day the Southsiders were playing by themselves. Usually they don't play by themselves. They play with the others. You know what I mean? And I was like, damn, why ain't the others playing? And I looked up and I seen the others. All the others were at their table. Which okay, like in prison, you notice shit like that. If everybody in one group is together, first of all, the police usually will break that up. They'll usually come over there and put y'all up against the wall and search y'all, and then they'll tell you no more, no more than groups of four. So it can't be more than four motherfuckers hanging out. Anyways, so I thought that was kind of odd and shit. So I get over there where the homies is at, and they're like, hey, the Samoan homie, I don't want to say his name because I don't know where he at. But they were like, hey, the Samoan homie, he tripping on the homie from the black homie that tripped on the Asian. And so like, well, the homies was like, well, shit, let them niggas get out 1-on-1. And I'm busy, no. And I'm busy, no. Do you see me live? Go play or get in the car. Sorry about that, bro.
That's good, brother. It's all good.
So the homies were like, let them get out 1-on-1. You know what I mean? Like it's others. We fuck with them, so like it's not really. It shouldn't be an issue. You feel me? Mm-hmm. And they weren't going for it though. You know what I'm saying? So first of all, the Asian cat is too small. Second of all, if the Samoan get in it, and the Samoan cat was a Damu, he was a blood, but he functioned with the, he ran with the others. So the homies were already like, man. So finally the homies were like, man, fuck them dudes. And so in line, everybody goes in, nothing happens, whatever. Go to chow later that night, nothing happens. Come back, nothing happens. And the next morning on the way to chow, the Asian cat tried to dope fiend the homie on the way to chow. So we ended up.
What do you mean by that when you say dope fiend him?
Like everybody walking the chow with their people, and he just tried to like walk up on the homie and swing on the homie, and yeah, and so had a little riot. You know what I'm saying? A little mini riot right there. And then see the thing about the Asian card, they're down in a month. The other card, they're down, homie, to kill us. You know what I mean? But a lot of times there's just not a lot of them. You know what I'm saying? And so when that happened, when the homie, when he try to sneak it, I'm on here. I'm not gonna answer your question. You're being rude. Close my door. Close my door. And oh yeah. So when they try to sneak, you know what I mean? When he try to sneak, try to dope fiend the homie, all the blacks jumped. Every black that was in that area right there jumped. Mm-hmm. So now you got like, I don't know, 30 blacks on like 6 others.
Okay. Now, was the Samoan guy, was he involved?
Yeah, he was there too, yeah.
Okay. And did anybody take him on?
Yep.
Okay. Because I often hear, how Samoans are like often like really big. So
yeah. Mm-hmm. And the cool part about it is the Samoan cat, I fucked with his celly hella tough. Because his celly was from Long Beach SOS Crip, a Samoan. Okay. And to this day, that's my dog. You know what I mean? But business is big. That's the thing about prison that people don't understand is like it's not personal, it's business. Mm-hmm. You fuck with ours, and you know what I mean, we all gonna go. Okay. You know what I mean? And honestly, that's where the strength for the Southsiders and all that get, they get the strength because you're not gonna fight one of them one-on-one. They're not gonna allow it to happen.
Okay.
And people try to be like, oh, because they're scared. Nah, they ain't scared. They just know how to war right. They know how to go to war right. Like you're not finna touch none of mine. You know what I mean?
Okay.
None of mine. And that's how they build a army, and then it builds their reputation that they're not going for no bullshit.
Okay. Okay. But it's those couple of stories you just told that, you know, when push comes to shove, the black car will handle his business. That I said.
Oh, they gonna handle it. Yeah. And a lot of times, like if it's another race, the blacks finna handle it. Everybody's finna come together. But now if you got like a black on black, like if you got a blood in the Crip, then it's gonna be the Bloods and the Crips. Okay. If you got like say two Crips, like a gangster in a neighborhood, then the gangsters in the neighborhood's gonna get into it. If you got a Crip from Compton, get into it with like a cat from like San Diego, a Crip from San Diego, then you gonna have the Comptons and the Watts, because Compton and Watts usually ride together. They call it hubbing and the dubbing, against the San Diego Crip Corps. You understand what I'm saying? If you got like if you got a Bay cat, you know what I mean, a 415 cat from the Bay, and they get into it with the Crips, then you might have Crips versus the Bay. It all depends, you know what I'm saying? But don't ever get it twisted, man. These dudes be trying to put these stories out there, and they're fake as fuck. Is that the blacks don't ride, homie? They go. There's been, all you got to do is go. Well, how do you think all these other groups were formed? These other groups were formed because basically everybody was being victimized back then, and so to protect themselves, they created these groups.
Okay, gotcha. All right. Well, there you have it, YouTube. You know, we had 3 really good war stories to give you an insight of how it goes down in the prison system. Like I said, you can take them stories however you like them. It's a war story as a warning that a war can jump off on anything or about anything. You want to stay the hell out of prison. So take the story how you will. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for coming back, Wack Deuce. It's always a pleasure to have you on my platform.
Man,
taking out your time to talk to me. I know your kids was trying not to let me steal you away from you for a couple of minutes. I'm gonna let you go back and tend to the little ones. But we appreciate you coming on, brother.
Man, that's what's up. I mean,
shout your channel out so people know where to find you at. They want to hook up with you. Shout out your social medias.
It's what you can find me on YouTube, Wack Deuce Against the Grain, or you can find me on Instagram at w.deuce, DUCE.
Okay, gotcha. All right, so there you have it, YouTube. This has been another edition of the Concrete and Steel Chronicles. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you in the next one.